Welcome back. Today we are unlocking the secret and strict rules of traditional marriage electives. I mean the marriage contract and not the wedding date, which is different with marriage contract or اختیارات ازدواج in Persian. First, we must check the sign placement for the moon. The moon must ideally reside in a fixed sign. The best option are Taurus and Leo, especially between 10 to 20 of Taurus. According to Tabari, the great astrologer, if the moon is positioned in Leo, everything regarding the marriage is auspicious, except that neither spouse will care for or protect the other's wealth, and both will actively seek to squander and deplete each other's property. Gilani, the other great astrologer, believed that the marriage contract should take place in cardinal or movable signs, while the wedding night should occur in a fixed sign. Some astrologers do not permit the sign of Cancer for marriage contracts, claiming it holds no goodness. But Abu Mashar believed that if the couple plans for wedding night to take place a long time after the marriage contract, the contract should be sealed in a fixed sign. However, if the wedding night is to follow immediately after the marriage contract, the marriage contract must inevitably be held in cardinal sign. Also in a book, Jame Shahi, we had a detailed breakdown. The moon in the Aries is completely ruined. In Taurus, the middle degrees are best, the early and late degrees cause the ruin of the woman's condition. In Gemini, the first half is unfavorable, but the second half is good. The entirely of the Cancer is malicious for marriage. The entire sign of Leo is beneficial, but the husband and wife will mutually squander each other's wealth. Virgo is good for women who has been married before and they wanna remarry, but bad for the virgin bride. The sign Libra is favorable for the marriage contract, but unfavorable for the wedding night. Scorpio, the beginning of the sign is good, but the tail end is ruined. Be careful of that. In Sagittarius, is mediocre overall, but highly favorable for sending out wedding invitation. In Capricorn, the early and middle degrees are bad, but the final degrees are good. Aquarius is unfavorable due to inciting volatile, excessive lust. And Pisces is auspicious, but it may cause the wife to become sharp-tongued and full-mouthed. What about the houses? Second and eighth house are important in the marriage contract. Fortify the second house, I mean the wealth or treasury of the groom, and eighth house, the wealth and treasury of bride, as well as their respective planetary rulers as much as possible. The fifth house governs offspring, thus the fifth house and its ruler, here is the moon itself, must be fortified. Configure the fifth house so that with aspects to ascendants. Place the ruler of the ascendant. Here is the Jupiter inside the 5th house. If the moon happens to be in 3rd during this configuration, it represents the absolute best state. For an abundance of children, place Mercury in its height, conjunction with the Lord of the 5th house. It's ensuring both are benefics residing in a fertile sign that aspects the Lord of Ascendant. If the North Node or Ras reside in the 5th house, it signifies a vast lineage of children blessed with longevity and joy. Muhyiddin Ma'rabi, the great astrologer, believed that if the benefic planets aspect the Mercury, it is a definitive signature that the couple will conceive children very quickly. But what about fixed stars? Fixed stars possessing the planetary temperament of Venus and Saturn, such as al-Fard or Shahi. Let's turn it on. Al-Fard. Al-Fard is here, and should either occupy one of the angular houses or be tightly configured with the moon and with Sahm al-Sa'ada or lot of fortune, part of fortune. The ascendant of the chart for the election must be a human, feminine, and fixed sign, though some authorities accept a cardinal sign. It must be entirely free from the gaze of the malefics and beautifully adorned by benefics to ensure the ultimate success of the marriage. The astrological hour of the marriage ceremony must belong to a benefic planet. The planetary ruler of that hour must be strongly positioned. Astrological lots or Arabic parts, like the lot of marriage of Valence, the most credible one, and the lot of children, like the lot of children of Hermes, and the lot of wealth, or Sahm al-Mal in Persian, and the lot of fortune, should ideally be placed within the angular houses or the succedent houses. They're not bad, like the 2nd house, 5th house, 8th house, and the 11th. But what about the essential planetary aspects for harmony? The moon should aspect the benefic planets from the angles, which promises a steady accumulation of wealth. Furthermore, the moon must be increasing in light, speed, and mathematical calculation. But I myself believe that just increasing in light and speed is enough. Jupiter must aspect both the Lord of the Ascendant and the Lord of the Descendant, 1st and 7th house, as this guarantees the marital happiness. If the Venus joins this aspect, the election reaches absolute perfection. Rulers of the 1st, the Ascendant, and the 7th house must share a praiseworthy harmonious coming link. In Persian we say ممازجت محمود باید داشته باشه. Having a benefit planet naturally residing inside the 7th house heavily favors the chart. Like now, which the Venus is in the 7th, in the 1st degrees of the 7th. Fortifying the condition of the moon's own domicile, the Cancer, is also crucial for cementing the marriage affairs. But to prevent tragedy, hostility, or the collapse of the union, the following configuration must be avoided. Afflictions to Venus. Venus must never aspect the malefics. Never. You must completely avoid any corruption or debility affecting Venus, as she is primary significator of the marriage objective. In Persian we say Venus is the کوکب قرض. The moon should not aspect Venus from angular houses, especially via a square aspect, which forbids separation, divorce, or bitter hostility. An opposition aspect is even worse. If the aspect in this state is sextile or trine, the couple will tolerate one another, but the marriage will be plagued by chronic illness, suffering, and lack of divine blessings. If the moon forms an applying conjunction to any malefic planet, one of the spouses will face an early demise. This is severely magnified if the moon sits in the pivot of the 1st or 10th houses. Do not elect a time when the moon is the 1st half of the Gemini. I mentioned before. The last of the Scorpio, the middle of the Capricorn, or anywhere in Aquarius, as mentioned before. The moon must not be in Virgo for the Virgin bride. Doing so carries the grave omen that the husband may perish. The moon must never be placed in the 12th, 6th, and 8th, the dark saddened houses. The moon must not occupy the 1st and 10th houses, as the ultimate end of that marriage will collapse into a public scandal. No malefic planet should occupy the ascendant. If the Zodiac or South Node is in the ascendant, or if it is bodily conjunct the Lord of the ascendant, it is catastrophic, as it will actively breed relentless enmity between the spouses. The sun must not apply to malefics, particularly through hostile aspects. Otherwise, the couple will be trapped in constant, unyielding warfare and litigation. The moon must not reside within the terms of the malefic planets. The moon must not be near the exact degree of a new moon or a full moon. Some ancient masters state that the moon should not be in a tight conjunction with Venus, as it corrupts and ruins the woman's personal condition. No malefic, like Mars and Saturn, should sit in the 5th house, as it denies or diminishes the birth of the children. The presence of the South Node or Zanab in the fifth house is the worst manifestation of this application. Okay, thank you for your attention. I hope you a good marriage contract in a good time, and see you in the next session. Thank you.